Well, we gotta listen to the R.Kelly. iTunes got a green light me. Hello, Linz.
Hi.
Now that Drake owns this episode. Welcome to episode 77 of the I Say That to Say This podcast with the lovely, real Mrs. McCrimmon, myself, King Bo Christ. Big shout out to our YouTube viewership, our Spotify listenership. This podcast is in session officially. Man, we're late.
I feel like you played the music a little too long, and then it was kind of missed the point of it.
Missed the point of setting the vibes?
No, not the vibe. Well, I mean, kind of, but
I was trying to dictate. I know what you mean. You're onto something. You're onto something.
No, you were going vibage. I was going R.Kelly.
No, see, that's the shit. We talked about this.
But it went too long, and then I think people were just on the vibe. They missed the whole point of the Kelly part.
Well, you're gonna have to listen to that old Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, I know you know already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why you had to let it.
That's literally the only part that was important of that whole thing.
But see, we talked about this. This was a dilemma. This was the first episode I had to pull the no, we got 86. I've never done that.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So, and we talked about on our. Well, I mentioned it's hard to set the vibe. It's hard to set the tone. Yeah. I felt like I didn't want a responsible podcast, but I felt like it needed to happen. I felt like creatively I couldn't move forward because I couldn't. I guess, like I said, welcome to the show, the R. Kelly, the official R. Kelly conversation, surviving R. Kelly conversation. I felt like after watching Surviving R. Kelly,
it killed the vibe.
100%.
It killed the vibe for what's it been? A week and a half?
Because see, I always try to find the joke and the humor in some shit, but it was no.
No, it killed the vibe.
Joking. It was joking.
It killed the vibe.
Yeah, it's weird that also I think we talked about. I don't remember if it was on the podcast or not now. Our life's a blur too.
No idea what's happening.
That what you watch on Netflix or what you watch or what you take in.
You've talked about that on the podcast. When you're not, comedy puts you in
sure, puts you in a certain
mood. It sets your, and not in a it could change the whole mood. It could be
you with your girl, you watching you watching Making a Murder. Nothing about Steve Avery puts you in the mood.
Yeah,
or just or fucking.
It's a lot of things that could turn it to the worst.
Yeah.
There's really not. It's a tricky. It's a gray area.
It's very what you take in. It's not even gray. That's the shit. You put yourself there to go.
Yeah.
You could go either way with.
Right.
And it's in their hands, so it's. I don't know, but so last Thursday.
Was it
our normal
Thursday?
Podcast day?
Oh,
our normal podcast day. We were we're gonna come up, we're gonna watch Surviving R. Kelly.
We watched it,
and then we're gonna come upstairs, record the podcast, whatever. After watching the first 2 hours of 6 hours,
so it was Thursday a week ago, a week and a half ago.
Yeah, I was just staring at the TV for a little, oh,
can't do the podcast yet.
Yeah, I was just how you can't. I'm not going in on just a third of this. No way. Nah.
I need to process it too.
Yeah.
And that was actually what we needed to process this.
Sure.
I feel
and that's for the listeners' sake, because they don't know what they don't know. Right. They don't know what they don't know. We recorded a podcast.
A whole podcast,
the vibe, that shit was, the vibe was off. It was just yeah.
The vibe's been, R. Kelly definitely killed the vibe, but he killed the vibe, he killed all the vibes for a while.
And that's another thing I've been seeing, I've been hearing, obviously other podcasts and whatever talk about this, but I've been seeing men like, oh, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, and I'm like, nah. This R. Kelly was. I didn't realize this, but he's a phenomenon.
Hold on a second.
Shoot.
They were saying like, I don't know what to do anymore when the R. Kelly situation came about.
No, but it leads to like another conversation. You know what I'm saying? It leads to.
It has been a conversation with the.
Right. So it's no. That's why I say it's no specific incident.
Okay.
But I don't. That's the thing. But I don't like.
Clarifying.
No, that's good. I don't like how R. Kelly. I don't like how it. I think it's its own conversation. Like it's its own.
Yeah.
R. Kelly is his own phenomenon. Yeah. Like
it's like if we were talking, which is kind of. This is probably the only joke in this whole situation. It's kind of like just skimming over a Michael Jackson topic. Like if Michael Jackson was relevant, you know. Sometimes I got gems.
No, bro.
You can't.
He got a documentary coming.
He or someone else?
No, his documentary. That shit better not come. But I mean, he's having a special coming also. I guess I'll have to look up the date here.
But if he was happening right now,
Michael Jackson,
you wouldn't be like,
died at the wrong time.
Michael Jackson, no, he died at the right time.
Right time. Right. That's what I meant. That's actually.
He probably killed himself, but whatever. That's.
Oh boy.
Neither here nor there.
Now it's going down.
So if he was right now, though. You wouldn't be like, oh yeah, Michael Jackson, he's going to court because some 7-year-old boy. All right, next topic.
Nope.
You're going to stay on that. They had a whole, I remember the court cases, I think. It wasn't as big as OJ, but it was a big.
No, yeah, it wasn't I remember it, but it wasn't prime time TV.
Vaguely.
I remember him like fucking moonwalking on the top of a Suburban or some shit. Like I remember him doing some weird shit.
I don't know. But anyways, like I forget where I was even going with that, but it was a good joke at the beginning.
No, but it's its own conversation. You wouldn't just skim over Michael Jackson.
He's been around a while.
Right. So
and telling us the whole time.
Wait, are we back to R. Kelly? Telling us. R. Kelly wrote a lot of but he wrote some Michael Jackson songs here.
Makes sense.
But
they go together.
Like you are not alone. Now when you find out R. Kelly wrote that song, it's like, it's like,
Wow.
See, a lot unraveled.
See, like I don't remember any of his songs because when he first came up as a creep, he was a creep to me. From then on out, I didn't listen to his music. So, like, the only way that I know all the fucked up lyrics is if you've said them out loud, like, oh my God, this. So every time you say a new one, I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. I wouldn't have thought of that. Like, I don't know his music. But I know it if you say it because those songs were on the fucking radio on repeat.
Right.
So I know the songs even though I didn't listen to them and I couldn't remember them if you were going to pay me all the money in the world, I would be like, no clue.
See, now that's what's weird for me also, and that's why I was like a gut check almost to see the victim side of it because I didn't write R. Kelly off in the very beginning. You know what I mean? Like Space Jam I Believe I Can Fly was a pivotal moment in my 8-year-old life. You know what I mean? Like that song, and think about when you hear songs and you hear them on the radio and whatever, like to hear it and see Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny, like it was a lot for what it did to my brain. It was just, but see, I was young, right. I was, all right. No stimulation.
No, I mean like
there were certain trigger words that we're not going to use in the R. Kelly conversation.
I was thinking dog training world,
stimulation,
like mental stimulation. Like there was a lot of stimulation. I meant it like scientifically.
Sure. No, there's no scientist here. Okay, there's a gavel.
I'm a motherfucking professional. Okay.
You're right. Okay, professionally speaking. Okay. I'm rolling. When you pull a professional card, I'm rolling. I'm not going to be one of those people like, I want to talk to an expert. Like, you're an expert, a professional, whatever it is. I'm rolling.
A professional.
Okay. Right, I'm rolling. That's my customer service voice.
Anyways,
that's my customer voice.
It sucks.
But, damn, I forgot what I was... Right, oh, no, I was going to say, sometime in that documentary, or what was it? A docu-series.
Yeah.
I heard the word ripe.
Vibe killer.
No, I just heard the word ripe, and I was like, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear. Nope. Yeah. I'm not rolling. Don't.
And it was just bad.
And since we're getting all the bullshit out on the front end, when it's before we get rocky, before we hit turbulence, the Halls commercial. I'm not rolling with the Halls kids commercial.
Nah. I wonder if it's like regional or if everyone saw the same commercial, because that was bizarre.
I don't know. See, this is the thing,
and I feel like other people should have like. I don't know. That's just very weird. Like, what? See, that's the shit. It's like, you know what got me? Judge Judy. Remember when Judge Judy? Like, I was like, you don't want to be, like, if I say, oh, this Halls commercial's out of line, like, and someone's like, well, why is your mind there? Or like, why are you going there? I'm like, no. It's
like,
just weird.
Right. So I'm like, maybe no one wants to be the first one to say it. I don't know, because you can't.
Because you don't want to be.
You don't want to be like. Pointing the whatever that shit is, I forget
calling the kettle pot,
creep,
right, black,
right, exactly,
or something.
Nah, I'm rolling.
They know what we mean.
There's a joke there, but I'm gonna go past it. But like so I don't know. Like I didn't. It just went over, so I was like, all right, Halls commercials. I guess it got the pass. Weird. But since we're getting all this shit off, Halls commercial too. So there's certain words we're not gonna use. Ripe, Halls, stimulation.
There's still jokes in here.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start at the very beginning with, and I think it also, even other than seeing the victims, which was like I said, which really put it into made it hit home. I think I was like, and I'm not giving myself, I'm not shooting myself any bail, but. I was literally 8.
Right. And that's what I like. So all I did was not listen to his music. It's not like I was like, hey, R.Kelly's wrong.
Sure. Right.
But like, I was a kid, but like, I feel like, I don't know.
And we didn't have the details that we got in this.
Right.
So
we just had like I heard like some shit in passing. It wasn't like we were faces in our phone on laptops all day yet. It wasn't like that. So we just saw it a bit. If we saw it a bit, though, we remember a little bit about it. Like, it wasn't, like, plastered on everything.
Like it is now. You
could just find it.
This is the thing also. This first clip I'm going to pull up here is from 1994. For the record, I was 6. Okay, so my point is, then, in 1994... If you didn't see it, if you didn't catch this on BET, you wasn't gonna get it. Like, it's weird that now I could pull up some
and somebody has
24-year-old footage, boom, and here it is. Someone put it up in January 2013. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's
weird. So it's a different dynamic, and it's not. And that's another thing which I wanted to point out. Like, we talked about. People bringing up like old
shit,
footage
like
and
Kevin
old
Hart.
shit.
This doesn't matter. This is timeless. This is timeless.
No statute of limitations on this. There you go. So I wanted to be clear. I wanted to be clear. Also, that's another reason why this is its own separate entity.
Shit.
Like the signs were there, everything was there. So I would go through the full timeline because in my brain, I'm like. This is an operation. Like, this wasn't in my head, it was like R. Kelly had 4 girls that he traveled with, who they say it's a cult, but in my head, before seeing the documentary, they're like sister wives, but like girlfriends, and like they're under the R. Kelly trance.
Right.
So I'm not saying, and
like starstruck.
Yeah, right, like in that fucking bubble.
Not abused.
Now, and to be very clear, when his original, like, R. Kelly has a cult, like, 2017, whenever that was. When you find out they're 19, it's like, damn, you a creep, because you 50. Yeah, you a creep, but it's not illegal, so I guess we gotta leave you alone. But I got my eye on you, like, you a creep.
Right.
There's no business. We gonna get into age gaps, but nah, not with your history, I'm not rolling.
Ain't nothing but a number.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. So, in my head, they weren't. When they're of age, it's like, out of my mind.
Right.
rewind, seeing this in 1994 of R. Kelly being 27 and rest the dead, God rest the dead and all that, Aaliyah being 15, I'm not rolling. Like, I'm like, hold on now. So everybody was looking at this shit
and being like,
here we'll get right into the clip. I'm not gonna waste another second.
They're here in the house to tell us all about it and give us a peek at her latest video. Please welcome Aaliyah and R. Kelly to Video Soul.
Bring out the big coffee. Bring out the big coffee.
How you doing?
What's up, girl? You stack. You know, America has been waiting for y'all to come back to us. How's everything going? Good. Yeah. Okay, let's clear something up, because you know I've been getting a rundown on the street. Everybody seems to think that y'all are either girlfriend or boyfriend or cousins or just.
I want to pause it right there. Come on. Like, the writer, everybody in this, like, even the host. If somebody passed me that on my notes here and was like, yo, ask them if, I'd be like, was this shit like a game? Like, say we knew they were coming. Maybe I wasn't going to ask. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. Maybe I wasn't going to ask. I don't know. But when they got there, like, I'm not playing this fucking game. Like, are y'all boyfriend and girlfriend, cousins? Like, nah, this dude is 27. And she's 15. At 15, I would have been like, wait.
3 years ago. That would be like you 3 years ago with a 15-year-old girl.
No, I don't want to use me in this example.
No, but I'm just saying, like, how outrageous.
That's what I'm saying.
Because from the outside looking in, you're like, it's really wrong. But, like, when you think about it, like, just 3 years ago.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, 3 years.
Not even.
When I was 25.
0%.
25.
0%.
When I was 25, like a 19-year-old girl, it was like,
you're pushing it.
Nah, not even you pushing it. Like, this is
weird.
You on the line. That's the line.
Right.
No, dead ass. Oh, in all seriousness, that's the line.
A few years ago,
can't even go anywhere together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Where are you gonna go with a 19-year-old girl?
Yeah.
Like 21, you know, it's just like, nah, I'm not rolling for 1 second. So
let's just get the record straight.
I'll let them get this shit off. I'll get the white Jeep thing.
Well, no, we're not related at all. No, we're not. We're just very close. He's my best friend.
In the whole
world. In the whole wide world.
I found Leah. As a matter of fact, Barry Hankerson, my manager, who's her uncle, told me to go up to Detroit and hear her sing.
That's it. I never want to hear his voice again.
Oh,
now,
creep.
That question of like, so everybody went like, no, he's my best friend.
In the whole world. In the whole world.
Like, and that's another thing. And I hate to nitpick here but knowing what I know now, it's like, nah, I'm not rolling.
Well, and they went and got married after the
matching Mickey Mouse outfits is like, I'm not like it just makes it extra creepy, extra weird. What are you looking for?
My water.
Oh, I think I hijacked it.
Oh.
But it makes it extra creepy. Like it makes it extra like no.
He actually. So I'm gonna look up the date. Hang on a second.
And now we'll fast forward a little bit here with R. Kelly actually marrying Aaliyah, them forging paperwork or whatever they did, which it later became an older void, however they did it. But the fact that people forged paperwork and did a lot of things to make it happen in the first place was fucked up.
August the 31st, 1994.
What?
That's when they got married.
When they got August 31st, 1994. That's
same year.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I mean. So 15. So she's 16, right? She's 16 at that point. 15, 16. But she
was 15.
27. He's 15 and he's 27.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. And I get that the times are different. Like this isn't 1910 though.
No,
this isn't even 1945. No. Like this is 94.
No,
and that's we're gonna get into what the record labels do, because like that's exactly my problem with it is like we're making it's a fucking gimmick, it's a game, right?
They don't care.
Nobody cares. What that tells me that what was happening right now currently
In
was
his house.
happening then.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
This is not some shit he just that progressed over.
No.
Like, no. This is why today he's like, what the fuck? And he thinks this shit is normal. Because from then, he's probably, in this man's brain, he's probably looking at it like, what? It's been like this. Like, oh, to now you're mad 30 years later?
Right.
Like, now everyone... I know. So right. It's seeing... It's really like... I see how it...
That's how he's confused.
I see how he's confused.
Because he's a fucked up individual to begin with.
Not even he's fucked up. That's the obvious part.
Right.
But R. Kelly's like a sicko.
Yeah,
right?
he's sicko.
But from the very beginning of his stardom...
We've let it go.
I'm not taking the weave. You're right, though. We've let it go.
I'm even owning it, and I didn't...
Right,
thought it was for a long time. You know, like, just society.
But that's why I was...
And same with, like, Michael Jackson. Like, if you're...
No, this shit is really, like...
If you're, like, if you're, like, a big enough...
100%. That's why I can't even put myself on the outside of it. I'm rolling.
It takes people a while. Bill Cosby.
See, that's where it's like, we didn't know. As soon as we found out about Bill Cosby, it blew up.
But people are still like, it's Bill Cosby, though. Like, so many jokes were like...
And R. Kelly even has people...
I still don't think of Bill Cosby as a creep. That's bad, right? He's so, like... He's Cosby.
And it unravels for me.
If I would walk alone with him.
No, you didn't.
And I mean, I wouldn't, but you know what I mean. Like, if
where is your water? See, that's how it happens.
If I had a choice to walk with R. Kelly or Bill Cosby, I'm going with Bill Cosby.
I don't want to walk. Somebody call me an Uber. I'm not walking anywhere.
But like seriously, like he's not threatening to me.
See, that's where...
But it's just because of my brain, you know, it's just because of how he is in my head.
That's where with the shit with Bill Cosby is, because it's like, no, see, I know you put something in someone's drink is crazy.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. In all seriousness, like, I was drinking your water, like, you don't think anything of it. Like, that'd be fucked up for me to put a Quaalude in your shit and you fall, like, you know what I'm saying?
Literally fucked up.
Yeah, like... All right. What time is it? Like you can see this. I said when we dimmed the lights, we was taking a chance. Like we should have kept the lights on because I knew this shit was gonna go left.
Delirious, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I'm just pussy. I'm just getting pussy because. Like cancel culture. Let me at least make it to 100 episodes, and then I'll stop being pussy. I was just like,
I don't think I'd take it too far.
No, not at all. I'm just fucking around. But you see,
but you are a little pussy,
and I'm definitely pussy. I'm pussy for real. And I see. What was I just gonna say? I see how it happened with R. Kelly and the fandom, and we got a long way to go, but. One thing I noticed also, and what I want to shine light on, because I can't, just when I want to give all of us the blame and all that other shit. Shortly after the R. Kelly documentary came out, Aaliyah's mom released a statement, and I'm gonna read it, and then I'll get my shit off. A direct quote from Aaliyah's mother, Diane Horton. The woman and so-called backup singer in the forthcoming surviving documentary that describes seeing, meeting, or even breathing the same air as my daughter Aaliyah is lying and is a liar. My husband and I were always on tour with her and at interviews and in every place she went throughout her entire career. Whoever this woman is, I have never seen her before anywhere on the planet until now. These lies and fabrications cannot be tolerated and allowed to be spewed from the forked tongues of sabotagers of Aaliyah's legacy. My daughter only wanted to realize her dream of sharing, my daughter only wanted to realize her dream of sharing her talent with the world and give her all performing on stage in front of the camera and fans she adores so much. She realized that dream thanks to those true fans who still love and support her legacy unconditionally to this day. Shame on all those involved in this project who thought it was kosher to drag Aaliyah's name into a situation that has nothing to do with her today. Once again, this will not be tolerated. Sincerely, Diane Horton. End quote. I felt it was important to read all of that. Because when you read all of that, I'm like, well, shit, if the parents wasn't complaining, what the fuck what did they want everybody else to do?
Right,
Like,
but that's fucked up.
I respectfully think she shouldn't have said shit, actually. I think when it came out, I completely, and that's why I say respectfully. With respecting, I understand her trying to protect her daughter's legacy. Right?
But
like, I think
her legacy would never, like, it doesn't make, it makes people, like, feel sad for her, but not, like, nobody's, it doesn't tarnish her legacy.
I don't think
it tarnishes his
.001
legacy.
And then, you know what? I'm glad you said that. Not in my brain for .0001 tenth of a second was I looking at her, Aaliyah, like she's wrong at that point. Not 15. My brain doesn't even process it that she would be.
But
she knew what she was doing. Like, I can't even.
But I think that's what she thinks is going to happen. Like, no,
not at all.
No, I feel like that's what she's saying in this. Like, tarnish.
Sure.
Why would her?
And that's why I feel like she shouldn't have said shit in this case, because, like, it's a bigger thing going on.
Right.
Like I don't know what's going on.
There's still people there.
Right. No, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to look at what's all happening. When you say, when you point the finger and call this person a liar and all that other shit.
He is still abusing women.
Because R.Kelly could print this out and read it and, like, see? Even her,
The girl he peed on in the video, for example, is still with him.
Sure.
She's the head girl.
Sure. And that's the shit also. It was a point in the documentary with Sparkle where she introduced her niece to R.Kelly.
She was like 12 or 13.
13. And I say to myself, you got to know his fucking track record. Because, I'm not going to exactly point the finger at Sparkle, but I will say, for what my 88 cents is worth, that you prided yourself on, like, oh no, because he's not going to talk to me like that, not for 1 second, fuck that. But want to be like, yo, you know what? I hope he could put my niece on and do the right thing. And you can't say you didn't think about it. You can't. But are you thinking about the money, or are you thinking about?
What she said, which I was like, come on now, at first, but like after watching it, I felt like he manipulated her too with his star factor, you know,
sure.
And like she said. Right. The niece was never, like, she was never going to be alone with him. She was only going to be there with her. And then she shows up and she's there. She was like, that's what threw her off, because she told, I think she told the parents, like, do not ever let her go. And, she told the kid, do not ever come over here by yourself. You always come with me, period. And then she shows up and she's there alone.
Sure.
Because he slipped the number to her.
Even in the court date, the girl's parents were like, nah.
No, it wasn't her.
No, it wasn't her. So that's what I'm saying. So that's why to me that's a pivotal piece of why it's still spiraled out of control.
Spiraling out of control. And because people are trying to cover it up for what reason? Like, this is going to continue. That's stardom. Like, for this is
that's
just
a selfish.
Continue.
I think that's a selfish thing.
Like, how many women didn't even come forward?
That's the scary shit I was thinking about. When I was watching, I was thinking, like, wow, there's friends right now that are calling, like, you better not fucking say anything. Or, like, there's a friend, like, hey, I got a call today. Like, what'd you tell him? Like, didn't tell him anything.
Because if he spent $150 million...
Oh, we're going to get into that, too. I see how... We're going to get into that. I see how he went broke.
But, like, he definitely... That ain't all the girls he ever...
Right. So... And on the other end of it, I believe her name was Michelle Kramer, if I'm not mistaken. Did I write it down? I didn't write down her last name. Michelle Kramer. Her daughter was Dominique. I fit the one that was dressed like a boy in the Beverly Hills Hotel. Or a hotel in Beverly Hills, excuse me. It takes a mom like that, I feel like, to get her daughter or connect with her daughter like that. And I'm not gonna say dad can't do it, but I feel like it takes that mom, it takes another woman to really be like, yo, look at me, like hello, break out of the
like, we still love you,
right? Like, break out of the trance. And that's why, and again, that's why I thought it was in my head. That's why I thought it was really what I thought it was. Like, he was just with girls. He took them on tour. He's always traveling. He always has them with him. That's what in my head it was. So that's why I was like, not no harm, no foul, but like, right. then I find out, like, I'm like, nah, Hugh Hefner wasn't having his girl shit in buckets, and you know what I'm saying, in a room, you know,
yeah,
and
they didn't feel like you've never interviewed a girl, and
every time I seen one of Hugh Hefner's girls, they was happy to be there. They was happy to be there. It was a party. It was other people around. They could look at other people in the eyes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the Hugh
have
Hefner,
fun with other people.
2 years ago, not even before this documentary. I'll say 2 years ago, because it got a little foggy when I'm like, wait, I wonder if they are locked away. Like, like when you start reading more shit, you're like, nah, they might be on the fence, but you don't have all the information. You don't hear from the victims, right? So I'll say 2 years ago, before I started like not making fun of it, but I'm like, we still gonna love R.Kelly, like, whatever. Like the R.Kelly, the Hugh Hefner comparisons, like they kind of stopped to me. Like I was like, nah, like they make money.
It's different,
like,
yeah.
They fucking Kendra.
These girls
one
don't
of
even
them,
know
like,
them.
broke
Has
up.
her own show.
Has her own show, right? She doing
married to some athlete.
There you go. So it also led me to why it was also in the conversation, and I want to talk about age gaps in relationships, and we touched on it before, so it may not be too much. To me, it's pretty cut and dry, because I actually would rather deal with an older woman or a woman like I'm 30 years old, right? But even not being 30, like my 30 is like 50. I feel like 57.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like you say you're 30, like you feel like you're 50.
It's been a hard 30 though, so that's why it's been a hard 30. So at like 20, it was a hard 24. So with 24, like me and like a 19-year-old girl had nothing to talk about.
No,
like. You know, I'd lived on my own for 6 years at that point.
Right.
You know, like my life was just in a different.
Right.
We have nothing to talk about. So I never had an age gap was never an issue for me. Like I'd actually rather it just so happened. It wasn't that just so happened that me and older women always had more in common. Like I'm like, yeah, okay, someone who gets it. You know what I mean? Like you just want to go home and be in silence for a while. Like you get it. I thank you. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So, but age gaps. If you're like a 30-year-old man and you're with a 25-year-old girl, cool. And this just is my personal what I think, but like 24, do you? 22, it's about you. It's about
cut
the
off.
Like that's
the cutoff.
Like what you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like or you see like a 36-year-old guy.
I feel like you would still look at him funny.
Because it's
like, come on,
it's
man.
It's not wrong. And every situation is different, right?
Right. If he did it again, you'd be like, okay.
Yeah, when you start being a serial, like, wait, are you targeting this demographic? Like, no, dead ass, though. What's happening here? And maybe I'm really getting pussy. Maybe I'm getting, like, soft or getting, like... But I'm starting to see things for what they are. Because when you realize... I didn't realize how much... Like... When you look up the definition of abuse, it's to misuse, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, damn, and not comparing myself to R.Kelly, but in the past couple of years, but seriously, there's a lot of shit that I'm like, oh, actually, I thought that was like regular, but no, that's a toxic trait in myself. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a lot of like yelling. I'm a yeller, but not like a football yeller.
Right.
Now, and that's the crazy shit. I'm not even that into the NFL anymore. Like, I'm like...
Yeah, you're not. You're really not.
Because I realize what I'm putting my emotions into. Like, why am I mad that a grown-ass man dropped the ball who made $7 million, who don't even know me? He can't hear me. I just yelled and scared the shit out of my wife, and she came down here thinking I broke some shit. And no, I'm yelling at the television. That's crazy. And I'm not saying that's toxic, but you'd come down like, are you okay? And I'd be like... Jeez, no.
Like
Adam Vinatieri missed the field goal. What the fuck's wrong with you?
I know. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Right. But I realized, seriously, like, oh, my yelling is actually scaring the shit out of her because there's no dead ass. So I don't look at it pussy. I look at it like, oh, you got to really realize, like, women are delicate, not delicate, but like, oh yeah, no, I guess that's some bullshit. Ain't no reason for me to, So there's a lot of shit that slowly you look. I think as you become a man and you start to think about other people and what you leave people with. Like if you die in two weeks, everybody really forgot about you, but what you left them with is all you got.
Right. But
so
He ain't thinking about
right.
how
I'm saying all that to say my personal gauge on shit has changed. Now back to R. Kelly. And also with R. Kelly, not really the age gap, but like the record label. We'll get into the record labels. Them marketing a 15-year-old girl, and even if girls lie about their age, I'm not gonna act like they don't.
Yeah. Right.
But I think there's a certain there should be a certain line or a certain everything has the dollar.
Okay, first of all, let me just say,
please.
It's not about lying about your if a girl is so young that she doesn't have an ID, she's too young. So she should have an ID to prove her age. Period.
Sure.
Period.
There's some paper. There's got to be some paperwork somewhere.
I need picture ID. Picture ID. That's it.
And but see, I want to point out something also with Aaliyah, right? We could look back to 1994. I want to jump to today.
Okay.
I want to jump to what's her name? Bad Baby. The Cash Me Outside girl.
Yeah. Just 13.
She's releasing singles.
Yeah.
She's releasing music constantly.
She's twerking on stage.
But my point, and that's another thing. She's 15 years old right
15.
now.
Okay, I thought she was 13. She was 13 when
she was 13, but she was 13.
Right, she's 15, twerking.
When Catch Me Outside, how about?
I saw a video of her twerking on stage.
Right, she'll be 16 March 26th.
Still.
She was born in 2003. To me, that's like, whoa. You was right before the internet. You're still a kid. You're still so the
your skull
record labels
grown together yet.
Record labels are that's what exactly. Record labels are marketing this. Mm-hmm. I didn't hear them, but I thought about it. I made a note of it, and then when I was brainstorming for the episode, I was like, oh shit, here's one.
Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera.
All of them. What were they?
They were 15, 16, yeah.
This is really when this is when they scoop you up and you're a marketing machine and they get the teenagers your age. There's a lot of money behind this. It really is. There's a lot of money behind this. And that's what I wanted to point it out because we don't even have to jump back to Aaliyah and today, right now, currently on iTunes and whatever you're fucking streaming. And kids, I don't know what it's making. I don't care about the charts, but when it makes the charts, it says okay. I don't know where it's being played. I don't hear it, but it's being played somewhere. Yep. I guess wherever they listen to this shit, it's going gold. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's gonna stop. Her album or mixtape is called 15. You know what I'm saying? That. I feel like it's one big fucking joke. I feel like I want to play the music, but I don't even want to. It's my brain is too much for it right now. Now that I think about it, I remember her first single. I think I played it for you. That was when I found... because of that girl, I found Anchor, the Anchor app. Do you remember that? I was like, oh, she must have got a lot of money for this. It was right after her run. I was like, she got a video out? And I listened to it, and I'm like, the shit's not terrible.
Yeah, it's catchy.
And that was the last I stopped paying attention to.
The record label signed her up.
Atlantic signed her. That they don't give a fuck. There's a lot of money behind this.
They're like, okay, you look like this. We'll give you some lines, and we'll write your songs or have your songs written, I'm sure. And then that's it.
No, I don't. It's some sick shit. And since we're on, go ahead.
Little Kim.
The infamous Little Kim pose.
What
I guess it's not weird.
It's
she's 50 now.
So, yeah.
Is she 50?
She had a hard 50.
Don't get me started. She actually... See, that's the creepy shit. I want to say she looked better then. But now I'm like, wait, is this when she was 16? Now I don't... No, seriously, now I don't know anymore.
Oh, really? I wondered why you put that down. That's why I was asking. Why is that down?
This infamous pose.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She was 16 years old?
I don't know. Was she?
Yes. Like, I said like a question, but because I still can't believe it. Like...
Really? That's creepy. What's Drake 30 for 30?
Drake was talking about you need to... that I'll play. But there's a thing with this. There really is a...
They like sexualize the kids.
Essentially.
Like, her legs are open. I thought she was in her 20s there.
I mean, me too. See, by the time I saw it, I don't know how old I was, but...
Yeah, she was older than me, obviously. That's crazy.
I just came from dinner where I here to fight wars. But niggas wanna talk high scores. Party just dipped off in a white Porsche. Phone and I didn't get it.
Damn, I'm fucking up. Because now I forgot where it is. He's talking to Tiger at the time about Kylie Jenner.
Talking from this perspective.
And he said you need to act your age and not your girl's age.
I guess you just making moves on your own time. But just know it'll be January in no time.
I don't know.
Anyways, what's 30 for 30?
That's the name of the song.
Oh.
He said you need to act your age and not your girl's age.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want Drake to pull this video down. Sorry for the listeners, but finding one Drake line isn't worth it for him to really own this video. Mm-mm. But Drake doesn't fuck around. But I wanted to make a point of it that at the time in Hollywood where it was rumored like, 25-year-old Tiger is with 17-year-old Kylie Jenner. Like, and Drake throws a jab at him, you need to act your age, not your girl's age. It's like, it's right there. And I'm not saying that's even pedophile shit. I'm not going there with Tiger necessarily. But it's just the overall Hollywood scene. Like,
young girls.
This shit is a joke. And to jump straight to the punch, I guess, for lack of a better punch, it got me thinking. The teen porn section of porn sites. It's like, oh yeah, like...
That's creepy.
Nah,
even though they're not teens, I hope.
They're not. They gotta be at least 18
creepy.
To be in porn.
It's still creepy.
But that's my point. Like, I'm like, oh, there's like a fucking... It's a thing.
There are a lot
like
of
a niche. Like a niche.
There are like some sick people out there. And they just kind of... I feel like people...
Go ahead.
People like men, some men are like impressed by another man being with a younger woman.
Sure, that's valid.
So I think that is perpetuated into like a lot of the, society's like exceptions and... But that's
why...
To the rule,
And I agree with that, but that's why it's not necessarily my problem with the consumer. It's not my problem. Like, if there's guys that are into younger women, or, because there's dudes that, your girl's 24, nice, good job. Like,
right.
I'm not, like, do you, fam, but you wouldn't get, like, a pat on the back for me, like, all right. So, but it's not, him is not to blame, for that. It's it's the people that's supplying it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's the someone that's like, oh, we need a section we need the teen section. Like, that's when it gets sick. That's when it gets like...
And it's regular. It's not some
people are feeding into this, right. And I get it. Like, I'm not... There's nothing... If you're 20... Whatever, if you're whatever a guy and you like an 18-year-old girl, 19-year-old girl... It's still weird, though. It's still weird. You're a creep. You're on my creep scale. For whatever my creep scale is worth, you're a creep.
Should be specifically available.
But if that's what if the law says you ain't wrong, you ain't wrong. I can't arrest you, but if you ask me for my opinion, or if the power of the internet, I can give it to you anyway. I think you're a creep. But again, that's my opinion. So I think with things like the teen porn section, this shit ain't never gonna get any better. But and that's another thing with the R.Kelly sex tape in Hollywood and all this other shit. It's one of the greatest skits of all time. I want to be very clear. I'm not picking on Dave Chappelle. But the Dave Chappelle R.Kelly pee on you skit. I'm like, oh, again. Now I was older.
Yeah.
When this dropped.
But I remember that.
It was hilarious. I wasn't thinking about... It made it funny. It made it, like, okay.
And then it was just a funny thing.
This is when
then I didn't take it serious.
No. Not at all. Like, you can't...
Now, I also didn't realize, because I think...
Dave Chappelle's wild.
I don't know when it was... I think I heard about it, obviously, when it happened. I don't remember, but I remember this specifically. I didn't realize the girl was, like, 13 in the video. I didn't know that. I just knew he peed on some young girl. But I didn't know, like, 13
when you
for
think
sure.
young for reasonable.
I was, like, maybe a 16. You know, like, I still thought it was fucked up, but, like, 13?
Yeah, they're right. And that's another...
Like, you're even worse.
Yeah, that's another crazy thing.
It's
16 is
hard
absolutely
to get worse,
wrong.
But, right, like,
13 is like, nah, that's a child. Like,
Yeah,
you're not on the fence at that point.
No.
Like, you're not...
You're 100%, you should be fucking in jail.
Yeah, you should. You got a problem. You done fucked up. Like, you're
castrated. Like,
you got a problem. Like, yeah, you're a serial pedophile.
Yeah.
Like, that's
seriously.
This is an issue, Mr. Kelly. But with things like this. What do you? And I'm not. It still be funny, I guess, the next time it comes on. But when I see shit like this,
it seems
it's a
like
joke.
Yeah.
It's literally
a joke.
And
that's what I thought of every time I thought about that incident. I would think of this video instead of
the actual.
Right. Well, I mean, it's not our fault either. He got off because the family was like, nope, wasn't her. So then it was just brushed off anyway. You know,
that's true. Like after not guilty, like
then it was a joke because
then it's fair game.
Then it was, you know, like, oh, she was probably actually old enough, but he's peeing on girls. You know, like that. It probably actually was a joke, but it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't. But coping was much easier with
and that's the beauty of comedy is that it can take a fucked up situation when it makes you laugh, it soothes the wound, and makes it okay. Right. So Dave Chappelle, I'm not, again, 0% of me is blaming Dave Chappelle.
Right, because he wasn't involved.
Right,
he was
and
just
the shit, now that was funny enough to get it a pass. Like, even if, I don't know, we never heard from Dave Chappelle again, and that was his one...
Chappelle, that's a good point. Like, Chappelle actually did his job.
Right, there you go, exactly. Bingo.
Like, the best representation of what a comedian should do. He did his job.
Take the most fucked up thing and spun that and made us laugh. Still?
Yeah.
Like, okay. But not obviously, that's where it's also tricky. Not everything said about R.Kelly has aged gracefully. And I remember listening to Charlemagne a year ago on the Brilliant Idiots podcast, and he was talking about... And I want to bring it up because he was talking about the R. Kelly sex tape. And I remember hearing it. I didn't stop the podcast. I wasn't like, oh! But I remember hearing it, and I just didn't process it.
It was very, I don't know, it was
weird.
Weird.
Let me play the clip first.
It's very weird to me.
Let's talk about Kelly, man. Kelly, man, listen, I don't fuck with R. Kelly. I've given R. Kelly props for one thing and one thing only. Two things. Number one, he taught me how to eat ass. Shout out to Kelly. I learned how to eat ass because of the R. Kelly tape. That's true. And
those my shout outs were completely unrelated to. I was gonna say big shout out to you for copping the swivel stand. YouTube, we promised it got greater later, and she made it happen.
I learned how to eat ass because of the R. Kelly tape. That's true. And the come thing is still one of the most legendary, incredible things I've ever seen.
Legendary.
Because I still don't understand how a man could come.
Well,
and then pee right after coming, and then come again.
I feel the same way every single time.
That's legendary.
This little 14-year-old girl, then he peed on me like it was like the sperm came out, pee came out, sperm came out again. And he's told her, let it drip. Liquid sandwich, bro.
And to be clear, what we're laughing at is when I was recording stream recording this clip, you hear Lindsay in the background like questioning, legendary, really? And you said it again right on cue, because that is one of those shits where every time you hear it, like, you feel the same way.
And he said it twice, like he really wanted you to know that he meant it.
See, now
don't do that. That's creepy. Like I don't know. It's very creepy. Like,
he said like 14 when he was peeing on this 14-year-old girl. Like when you say it, I remember hearing it. This clip of the year old. Be very clear.
I never saw the video. I know a lot of people did, but like, you're talking about a thing that he did to a child. Being like amazing,
legendary, and you learned from it, and like, huh? What? Like, nah, bro, that's child porn. I'm completely okay. You could release my Pornhub searches, and I'm like, yeah, I stand on it. I stand on my Pornhub searches. At no point would I want to even look at the R. Kelly sex tape.
No.
I got a lot. Well, I to full disclosure, I'm removing a lot of R. Kelly out of my shuffle, because I'm like, I don't even want to hear this shit. I don't want that shit in my brain.
No,
like,
he's a creep.
Yeah, like now I know where his mind was at when he wrote a lot of this shit, and hearing connections like, oh no, he really I'm not rolling. So I couldn't, like, his music, which I enjoyed very much, is not the same to me.
No.
There should be nothing about the R. Kelly tape you look at like, oh wow,
I should try that.
Like, are you joking me? Are you joking me?
No.
Nah, like so and shit like this.
Even if you're a fucking real weirdo and think that, you should never say that in public. Like, you said it on air. Like, you need to think about, like, even though I say, like, be real, like, don't be a creep. Like, you might need to filter your shit. You need to filter your shit. Real. Don't just say what you think, because that's terrifying.
I'm glad it paused at that. Like, that's exactly how you gotta look at a motherfucker who just said some wild shit. Like, are you dead ass? Like, you're not. Like,
you really just said that.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
You need to.
But and that's even with like a person with daughters, or even a son. Like you don't want your son to grow up and no. Mm-mm. Like, with a person with responsible for another human, you gotta certain cues you just can't, we can't stand for, we can't accept. And
in any sense of the word.
Yeah, I don't know. R. Kelly, the special go ahead, please.
Speaking of standing for it, let's talk about who really was like we blame ourselves a little bit for like ignoring stuff. Not personally, like I can't sleep at night because of it, but like, you know, I feel like a lot of people overlooked it. But like the most important people that overlooked it were the fucking people that were his assistants and his fucking bodyguards and the people that were out getting him girls. Like
I'm glad I didn't let us brush over that. They are just as guilty, if not more.
Guilty.
Right.
Like, you, I don't know, you might be fucked up in the head like R. Kelly is, but if you're not fucked up in the head, you're guilty. Like, he's guilty because he's fucked up in the head, but if you're not, like, literally, like, not right and, like, can't make decisions on your own, like, you're fucked up too. You're fucked up too because you watched it happen. No,
not even watch. If I say, hey man, go give this girl that number.
Accomplice.
And the security goes over like, yo, R. Kelly wants you to call
right,
him.
Like to a kid?
When you walking over to that girl, you know
what's going on. You know what's going on.
Right. Yeah, these guys, and the whole, that's why I'm saying, it was so much money behind it that, like, people were taking a bag to look the other way. It's the only way. And R. Kelly, it's reports are saying R. Kelly's down to $1 million. Like, he's basically broke. And he even says he's a broke-ass legend in the 19-minute confession. I admit it. He says I'm a broke-ass legend. But I really take it... Hearing it that, I'm like, R. Kelly's version of broke coming off $150 million could be $7 million, which is still...
It's going to be gone
soon. A great amount of money.
Right.
But now I see, with all this shit happening, R. Kelly had a ring and a lot of people working for him, a lot of people standing guard and transporting and escorting and all this other shit.
Putting people up in houses and hotels and different houses on different coasts. And
taking up 2 floors of hotel rooms. There's a lot of people that saw what's going on and was in studios seeing what was going on that are just as guilty. Like if you could be that close to a person you know is doing wrong, you fucking wrong.
And you know the person is not like is being abused. Like you see that.
Right.
You have to see. You have to be like, that's fucked up.
That's you're hitting on a great point here. If R. Kelly was just taking these girls on tour and
they were all happy-go-lucky,
right, and the parents were upset,
that's one thing.
Like, hey, I haven't seen my daughter. That's one thing. That's a separate issue.
Right.
Seeing the victims, once I heard about the physical abuse
and the
that
not
was the
making
record
eye
scratch,
contact,
like
not feeding,
yeah, right,
not allowing them
violate,
to leave. They have to ask to use the bathroom, ask to eat, ask to do anything. They're not allowed to have their cell phones.
Right.
They're not allowed to talk to their parents.
Right. When you mention or when you bring into factor all those things, that was the record scratch for me. Like, oh no, that's and seeing the victims tell you like, I forget one of them. It was like a clause. She said it. Yeah, when you violate, like you don't eat. Maybe a day, maybe 2 days.
Right.
But you don't eat.
She said the longest she didn't eat was 3 days.
Or like, he said that I'm a Bulls fan. I'm a Cavaliers fan. Right. When he was a Bulls fan, he smacked the shit out of me.
Right.
Like hearing, I'm like,
and she said, I thought we were just playing around.
Right. Once you hear like the physical, once I personally heard the physical abuse and the like I'm like, oh no, you really was you over there out of line. You over there just running a fucking muck like the Wild Wild West. Like and that was like, no, that's a different. Whatever you do. They were
just like,
sure,
overlooking it.
That's not overlooking. You're an accomplice.
Yeah.
You're guilty.
That's really crazy.
Because I tell you what, like if and that's why I say it takes a mom like that mom.
Yeah.
Or it takes a dad like. It takes a motherfucker to be hands on. Like with this, with
you gotta keep going.
An assistant, somebody like you guilty. Like, this one you can't. And none of them were like, oh, I had no clue.
Yeah.
None of them were surprised.
No.
The only person that was surprised was the wife. And that was the biggest surprise to me, actually. You would think, and now that's another thing in my head.
Another, like, eye-opener in the whole thing was that his ex-wife was on there, which I didn't, when I saw her on that show, was it Hollywood Exes. I was like, R.Kelly had a wife, but I wasn't really a fan of his, so I didn't know. But I didn't realize like you didn't know.
Blown away. I was like, R.Kelly is married,
and then
or
to
was
hear
married
all these victims, and she was like telling her story, and she was married to him and has kids with him and shit.
And before this, I would have looked at her like she was the only person who knew, maybe the assistant or whatever didn't know. Like she was just as fucking clueless.
Yeah, and a victim too.
They got married, and that's another thing. Here they got married at a surprise wedding. Like she walked in, like, "Oh, hey, by the way, this is your wedding."
Yeah, I got everything that you would want.
Oh, this motherfucker was. He was really. I thought that he asked her to marry. Like I thought it was a traditional process. I'm not even a big wedding, but yeah, like he. I'm a very spontaneous guy, and I love surprises. And there is a 0% chance of a surprise wedding.
Right.
Like there should be.
And she said, like, she didn't know if I wanted my family there.
Right.
Even those simple details. Right. But like, he's obviously he's a very smart, like fucked up guy, and he knows to like go after women who aren't like. I would be like, what the fuck? I mean, we wouldn't be there anyway, but like, like, what? Like no.
Like a surprise.
Like, no.
Can I ask you also, let me ask you, this is separate from R. Kelly, this is a separate topic, we're going to get back to him. Okay. But if you propose to someone, and not if you propose, because, well, I guess it's a new world, hey, you never know. Women propose now. When you propose to someone, is it over if they say no? Like, if I propose to you and you were like, yeah, no, this just isn't.
I feel like, yeah.
I think it's over, yeah.
Like that's there's a lot of things, like, wrong with that.
Sure. No, I agree. I think we're on the same page with this.
Because, like, you don't have to get married right away. Like,
sure. Right. There you go.
Like, because you can be engaged for 100 years. You don't have to get married. So just because you say yes to engagement doesn't... but... If you don't want to marry them, You know, like they're not like, hey, can we get married tomorrow?
Right. That's where I was going.
That's
like, hey, let's get married tomorrow.
Right.
Like, what? No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I mean? Like that. Bingo. See,
Marry
sometimes
me?
I feel like, and I love that we don't play devil's advocate, but sometimes I feel like, damn, we almost don't count because we look at certain things the same way.
Yeah.
But when we agree, when we disagree, we disagree. But things like that, I feel the same. Like, I don't. If you propose to someone and they say no, it's like, well, I didn't ask.
It's gonna hurt. Like that's all you're gonna go back to.
No, but like, what are we doing together if
right,
we're not?
Like,
if I can't even. Like, yeah, right. Exactly.
All right, we just. What am I here for?
So a surprise wedding is like, oh, you gave no option. You gave no.
Right.
Like, hey, hold on, let's.
Give
things
it
are
some
moving
time.
fast.
Yeah.
I don't know. We just. There is no like
vanilla cake.
Hey, I want it right. Like, what color you want to wear? Like, you want a flower? You want to? I don't know.
Cake
like a lot of
good right now. Anyways.
Word. What time is it? But yeah, I don't. There was a lot.
That's crazy.
It definitely opened my eyes to her side of it, and I was like, damn, she was a. And I'm not.
I think they needed her. They needed her because I don't know, like, and. I think I've read some things about this, but like, we don't like. I think people cry victim so much that like a lot of times when I hear somebody's a victim, I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not insensitive. Like, if I actually believe somebody, like I feel really bad. Like, I was crying watching the R.Kelly episode a few times. Like, it's really sad. But like, I don't know what it's like to be a victim, so like I don't think that I would ever be a victim just because my personality. Like I would never, ever. But like having her on the show too made it like more So the people that would have struggled with it probably were like, oh man, she was married to him for 12 or 13, whatever, however many years she was married to him, had kids with him, and she's crying and like obviously hurt by this whole thing, and it made it more believable to me because I feel like I would have been like, oh God. And
to hear his wife say there's things that she can't even talk about after hearing all those stories, which are all similar stories.
Yeah.
But seeing, I forget
that girl that walked into the room and was like, I can't be here,
she
and
was
like,
well, this is just
and she's like starting crying, and
so to hear that is like, damn. And I'm not saying R. Kelly's wife. Andrea Kelly, I thought it was interesting that she decided to keep his last name.
Because of the kids.
That's why I respected it. I'm like, I get it, but I'm like, not if it caused you that much pain, like, I don't like
it's all about the kids at that. I feel like it's just...
I get it, and that's why I'm not judging, but I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but like, I don't have kids, but like, I feel like as a woman, I would want my kids to not feel, because if you shed the Kelly name,
right.
Your kids are running around with still but you don't, like, you have to go through that with them. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, you have to own that with them because you have to be strong for them, because imagine what they're going through. Right. You know, like those poor kids.
And it's also fucked up that we could go an hour talking about it and. However many, because I have to throw myself into two, and however many skits and people. Right. See, I feel like I knew that, but I didn't process it that R. Kelly had kids also. And when you see they're like 13,
I don't think I knew either.
14 and 15, you're like, oh shit, they're actually just like currently coming to the point where they're realizing what's going on.
Right?
Like for real. Like when you're 9, you probably know. You're 10, you probably know. When you're 15 and you're becoming a teenager, you're like, oh shit.
Right.
You know, like, and so when I see that, it's fucked up for their sake, that because people are cruel online and
in person.
You know, you never know. But to see kids, and that's where it's more fucked up because of the toxic cycle of R. Kelly spoke about how he was abused, and his brother Bruce said when you stare at him until he one of those kids will start to cry, and I'm like, well. Stop staring at him, you fucking
that's why you're in
like,
jail.
Exactly. So,
like, who would do that?
Seeing that R. Kelly had whatever happened to him and
his brother had it happen. The other one,
right? And the other brother was sexually abused by a sibling, their older sister, I believe.
Really? Is that what it was?
Yeah. I mean, the younger brother admitted on like a radio show.
Oh, okay.
But And I'll put the link in the show notes.
Okay. I thought the guy in jail did it,
responsible.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking too when you said that shit. But and I didn't assume. I didn't.
He was probably in a
That's where I'm going with it. Like when whatever happened to R. Kelly. Maybe he just went
a different way, but like he's.
But whatever happened to R. Kelly and as a child.
Family.
His family, a toxic cycle for your family fucking you up, and to look at the families that he's fucked up. Now to see, like, damn, now someone else, like, now your kids are fucked up.
Right.
Not fucked up. And they could grow up to be fine. I'm sure they could grow up to be fine. They're not cursed. But they have to go through this. This is the defining period
and they have to
for
go
human life.
Right.
Right. So to just see that, it's like, damn, it really never fucking ends. It's always going to be someone. There's always going to be something.
Nobody can break free from that shit. Like, just, like, I don't know. And I know, like, as a child, it's, like, psychological, and it depends, like, you may have caught the wrong, misfire and gone a totally different way. You're not really, I have no idea what kind of person I was when I was 7, like, no idea. I have no fucking clue. I'd like to think I was a good person, but like, if you're so vulnerable at that age.
At that point, I think I'm not a
psychologist,
right? Child psychologist or professional.
But it's a very
but at that point, that's when you're taken in. I feel like you don't even know who you are. That's why you can't think back on.
You don't know that you exist.
Right, basically.
Like I don't remember even like. I mean, girls are cruel, but like when I think I was 13 when I was finally like looking at my body and I was like, oh my God, I don't look like everybody else. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't really know what the fuck, you don't know what your body is. You have no, like that's so, like he really had no chance.
But that's the cycle, it goes. And it, it led me to an interesting, my podcast rabbit holes I go down. Mm-hmm. I was Centoya Brown update. She was granted clemency,
so
and
happy about that.
Yeah, me too. It was good to hear. Like, okay, because I was happy for her.
Yeah.
That it didn't take 2 years. It didn't take. It spiraled fast, and it happened, and she got a release date of August 2019. So I thought that was cool, and I was just like, that's good to see.
Yeah.
Because it led me to that I'm trying to think of the right word for it, but that situation or those circumstances, I'll say, where she was a young girl and she was doing what she needed, what she was selling her body for money.
She was kind of taught to do that.
Right.
From whoever. And I'm not saying she was wrong. I'm not saying she was a victim, but she was in a situation where she felt like, all right, this man could harm me and he could hurt me. And in this situation, I feel threatened. Right.
And she did what she did. That's why I'm like, all right, I'm not saying they should have, even if they didn't say not guilty, then they sentenced her. It shouldn't have been 51 years.
No.
But if they gave it, I think the 15 years she's done is like, that's why they're like, all right, everybody's on the same page here.
Yeah, because he was, so if somebody killed
R. Kelly. He was a grown man. And I'm not saying somebody killed R. Kelly.
No, but I'm saying that girl.
It was a point, I believe it was Kitty Jones, and that I will go for the, she talked about, she said there was a certain point when she was looking at R. Kelly. Yeah, it was Kitty Jones. She was looking at R. Kelly and she was like, damn, I either want to harm myself or I'm going to have to harm him to get out of this situation.
Mm-hmm. And that's my only choice.
And she felt like that was her only choice. At that point, I'm like, see, it puts us in a... It's always going to be what it's going to be. You know what I mean? What's meant to... Everybody's going to have a day they deserve. I don't know if you're going to get it on the front end or the back end, but the energy you put out in the world is 100% going to come back to you. Sure. So if you're a motherfucker that's causing harm to people or put it, you know what I'm saying, not abusing, but, like, it's not like these girls are like...
Stop being... Like, if you're a bad person...
Right. But that's what... In this situation, it's not like these girls are all like Kitty Jones and like, oh, yeah, I liked him and older... She was 33 at the time they met.
Right.
These other situations with these young girls are they're aspiring singers.
Age.
Right, exactly. That which is insane to me.
Her age.
And then with some leeway in there. You know what I'm saying? So
I could have possibly and did get into so much shit when I was like 15 and 16 that I shouldn't have done, and I got in the situation and I was like, this was a bad idea. Like, the shit happens fast, and then you're uncomfortable, and, you know, I've been in situations like that. Thank God nothing ever happened, but, like, it could have. I was 16. I didn't know shit. I was just wanting to hang out with cool people, and, you know, like, I can't imagine being a star and being, like, a singer and meeting a singer.
Who you consider one of the best. And then he could sell you this dream of sing for me. And oh yeah, you're gonna be a star. You know what I mean?
And then you're like, oh my God.
And there you go. So when you're in that, I don't know, when you're in that taking advantage that way, I don't know. Things could happen. Like whatever happened. If you make a girl feel like, oh shit, I'm a fucking hostage, I might have to kill this motherfucker to get out of here.
Well, not even that. Like, he's like, just, you know, they didn't realize it really, but they were like, what is wrong? You know, like, anyway, but I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot to process. I still have more process.
R.Kelly, me too. It's still one of those things, because you know why it's still happening currently. And R.Kelly he's under investigation in Georgia. So
was it after the documentary?
After the documentary, correct.
That's amazing.
So
this shit has to stop. That's crazy.
And I believe they did a great job. Like Lifetime and Dreamhampton, people who put that together did a wonderful job with as far as the production. You know, as far as like when you hear the other side of it, when you hear the victims, then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I see that. And if you don't have to be. To me, after that, it was really no defending it. It was like, well, you know, R. Kelly is like, nah. When you can't tell these women what they feel is wrong.
No,
you can't. When you see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9
and an
women,
ex-wife,
right. If you don't, when you see a woman cry, if that don't do nothing to you, then you a sicko. Because I'm like, I don't even know these women. I didn't do shit to them. It is making me feel bad watching them cry. If this motherfucker made them feel like that, and
there's still people there,
and there's still people that like. Yeah, I don't know.
I can't.
They're the judge of this, and I gotta give it to them.
I like the fact that, I don't think this is on here, but I'm gonna mention it. I like the fact that they did the Mute R. Kelly.
And that's I'm glad you brought that up also.
And that's why he was going to Africa singing to.
I feel like I don't know how that.
It's
passed
like
over my head. Like, I didn't realize. How did it? If I saw Mute R. Kelly a little sooner, I may have connected some dots. I'm like, how the fuck did I not?
Yeah.
See that? Like, I'm all. I see everything else on the internet.
Because R. Kelly is not that important. Cardi B and Offset are important. You know, like some stuff. I mean, not.
But like
you know what I mean?
Like, you're right. But
it
like
stays under the radar. Like the most like the Jerry Seinfeld show that we watched today, where he was like, Jerry Seinfeld, funny from 93 to 97.
Right,
and then he was like, all right, scoot over for Cardi B. It's the same shit. Jerry Seinfeld is... I'm not even a Seinfeld fan, but Jerry Seinfeld is way better than Cardi B.
Like Cardi B slander in here. Okay.
I mean, she's just...
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. He's established.
I respect her,
it's
but
different,
like, it's different.
But that's what made it a joke.
She doesn't really have substance yet.
But it is what it's put out there. Like,
right, but it's relevant. It's relevant. So whoever's relevant is what is going to be at the top, unless you specifically search for it, or you're on the internet all day just like going through holes into.
That's why I was really surprised I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But and like you mentioned before, a couple seconds ago, I didn't realize. Now we talked about the R. Kelly in Africa. Did you get your shots?
Yeah.
Watching the documentary, you're like, oh shit, that was a real recruitment tape. Like that was a real, that was a real proposition. He was dead ass. Like, yo, if you want to come back to America, you got your passport with you?
Right.
Let me see your medical records.
Because he can do whatever he wants to them.
And they were. He was flying, and that's how. And then we talked about it before to bring it back up. This is how you blow $150 million.
Right.
Flying 36 people from Ethiopia back to Chicago or back to Atlanta, back and forth, and then you're back in Ethiopia recruiting for real, and you hear that one girl's what happened over in Beverly Hills, man? Go over and fly over from Miami to Beverly Hills and bring her.
He's also like he's able to keep a wife in the dark for however long they were married. It was a good amount of time. He was able to
13 years.
He kept her in the dark. Like, she was crying, saying, like, how did he have time to do this? Like, he had help, obviously.
Oh, of course.
But, like, that's where his money went.
Sure.
Because it's expensive to live 8 lives.
And I think also that's what I'm like, oh, well, fuck him. Because I trust women with a lot. Some points too much. Not you. That wasn't
I didn't take that. That went right through me.
Seriously, because like, if he was focusing on what was around him, he would probably still have the $450 million I thought he would have. Mm-hmm. He should have. Well, owning his music, but he was misusing them and abusing them, and he should have had them read some fucking contracts. Yeah. But that's why I'm like, it went full circle. Like, it makes sense if you blew your money, because this is what you were doing. You got 9 women with you, and
none they can't even look up.
Yeah, like if you let them look up, they would have probably told you, like, yo, by the way, he's been stealing $80,000 a year from me, you fucking idiot.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So. That's why I mainly don't feel bad for him.
No, I definitely don't feel bad for him.
Oh, yeah, no. Absolutely not. And
I also think it's crazy he can't read and write, but it makes sense. Like, when we were watching...
It still doesn't like...
When we were watching the, the series, and they were saying... Maybe it was after... I don't know. Anyways, I saw something that he was always on video, like videotaping himself. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because he can't fucking write. You can't fucking write.
I didn't think about it that way. I didn't think about that.
You know, make a caption?
Yeah.
I ain't playing today.
It's still crazy to me that R. Kelly... I'm like, wait, he can't...
He's a fucking idiot. Like, through and through. Like, every aspect of the word, and a sicko.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's my official review of R. Kelly.
R. Kelly conversation in the books. We made it.
We did it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see where this is gonna go.
I hope it goes where it needs to go. Like, these girls need to be. He needs to go to jail.
Do you think there's gonna be? I feel like there's gonna be at least one, and that's what's. I'm not saying anyone's right or that one of the girls are right or wrong about this, but I feel like now, what do you release them back to their families? Like, there's gonna be at least one that's like, yo, what am I gonna do without him? I'm not saying
they need therapy. They need therapy.
And hopefully they could heal from it or whatever. And if they do, maybe
support group.
Yeah, see, that's
he has a whole fucking support group of women that have been with him specifically. So
right, the physical. If there was no like physical abuse and you wasn't having shitting in buckets and starving them, this is a different conversation for me. But like knowing those factors, I can't take it out. Like I can't undo it. So I'm not. There is no other side of it. Like I'm like,
he needs to go to jail.
One time, cancel culture actually.
He needs to go to jail. He needs to be muted. He needs to get the fuck out of here because he's dangerous.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's it. And I don't know, beautiful people. Don't buy Yanti no more goddamn R. Kelly tickets for her birthday.
I mean, I don't think he's had a show here since they canceled shows in Chicago, where he's from.
Yeah.
So it's good.
They'll chase him out eventually.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful people. Thanks for sticking around.
See you next time.
Buttons.
Subscribe to the channel.
Make sure you guys subscribe. Ciao for now. Have a day you deserve. This podcast.